Previously, I showed you how awesome this WiCAN device is. It plugs into the OBD ports, gets a bunch of data from your car, and outputs data into Home Assistant or whatever you want. You can even use OBD scanner apps like Car Scanner for diagnostic over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Today, we're going to modify the WiCAN device a little bit so it can plug into this bundle of wires right here. I used a tech manual for Hyundai Ioniq 5 to identify which, where, and what to tap in. There are at least 8 CAN buses in this car. For now, we'll tap into the B CAN bus. B stands for body. This reports a bunch of data relating to the body of the car. In this video, we'll focus on whether the doors are closed and locked. The purpose is to introduce you to SavvyCAN, how to collect data, give it AI to analyze when door is opened, closed, locked, and unlocked. Next video will be about detection. If a door is open after midnight, then turn on the siren in my house to alert me. There are easier methods, as I've shown in this previous videos with a door sensor, but I really want to up my game to understand and start hacking the CAN bus. We can certainly identify if the car is unlocked. If car is unlocked, then send the command to lock the door. This auto lock device is already out on the market and being sold for about $200 here. That's a lot, and I am sure we can do it for a lot less with an ESP32 chip and a CAN bus module for under $10. The ultimate goal, though, is to get you excited about deciphering the car's CAN bus, integrating the data into Home Assistant. No need to pay annual fees from Hyundai or even Toyota for things like heated seats, remote climate control, while the WiCAN works only over Wi-Fi. The WiCAN Pro works over 4G, allowing you to monitor and control from anywhere in the world. Here's a diagram for you to see we only need 4 wires. To power up the WiCAN, we need 2 of the wires, ground and 12-volt positive. We'll need another 2 wires, CAN high and CAN low, to pull data of whatever CAN bus we plugged into. In this case, it's the B CAN bus. Looking at the WiCAN pin out, we can see that we need these 2 pins, pin 5, which is ground, and pin 16 for 12-volt power to power up the WiCAN device. Then we have pin 6 and 14 for CAN high and CAN low accordingly. Can you build the WiCAN device? The answer is yes. This video shows how using an ESP32 chip along with this CAN bus module. Strangely, I could never get it to work, so that's why I am using what I already have. This WiCAN device is actually made with an ESP32 chip. The WiCAN device has all male pin connectors. You have a bunch of pins pointing outwards. I could get one of these special OBD adapter to go from male to a bunch of cable wiring, but for simplicity's sake, for brevity's sake, I'm just going to use this homemade wire. On this side are basically paper clips. I don't know if you can see it on screen or not. The paper clips are then connected to the 4 thin wires. Heat shrink tubings are then used to prevent the paper clips touching each other. I use paper clips so I can hold onto them easier. I suppose you can use male DuPont connectors, as I did in this previous video too. On the other end of my wire are female DuPont connectors. They will go directly into the WiCAN device as seen in the diagram you saw earlier. Just apply some force and it will go straight in and stay in. I did it off camera, but here it is once it's done on the WiCAN side. There are various places to tap into the B CAN bus of this Hyundai Ioniq 5. Under the front passenger seat is the easiest way to tap in. On this bundle all the way to the left-hand side, if you're looking at from this angle, then this is ground. Stabbing my paper clip in will get me ground. Stabbing on the opposite side will give me 12 power, and that's enough to power up the WiCAN device. We're going to tap into CAN low first, which is the 4th pin from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one, which is the next one over, is the CAN high. By the way, if this video is helpful, please consider subscribing and liking the video. This lets YouTube know my video is indeed helpful and will recommend to others like yourself. All of the pins are in position. On the WiCAN side, we have power as indicated by the blue light. Green is for Wi-Fi. Data from the car is flowing through as seen by the yellow light blinking. With the WiCAN device attached and powered onto the car, we need to make some changes before we can actually make use of anything. If you remember from the previous video, the WiCAN device has its own Wi-Fi access point. Let's connect to it. Here it is. Click on it. Click on Connect. Let's go into the settings of the WiCAN. We're going to change somewhere in the middle. The CAN section, the protocol will be SavvyCAN. Click on Submit Changes. It's going to reboot the WiCAN device. Now let's open up SavvyCAN. Go to Connection. Open Connection window. Add New Device Connection. Select Network Connection. The IP of the WiCAN device, which is 192.168.80.1. Create new connection. Check Listen Only. I don't know if we need to enable bus or not, but for sure, checkbox the Listen Only. Save. Close the window. Now you can see the WiCAN device is reading a bunch of CAN messages, even though the car is off. Let's go to the Tools menu. Go down to Sniffer. We're going to mute notched bits. Every time something is lit green on screens, that means something is active, and we really don't care about it. So every time we see a green, we're going to hit the notch because I have not opened the door yet. I'm also going to check the box, Fade Inactive Bytes. Let's open the door. We can see that 131 got lit up like a Christmas tree. The door is now closed again. Let's do 131 one more time. So yeah, I would say 131 is the driver's door open. Let's open the door one more time. 131. I wonder if we open the front passenger door, if the values would be different or not. So let's open the front passenger door, and it seems to highlight 411. Let's try the back passenger slide. Okay, so that's 411. And when we close, 411 value change as well. Let's checkbox the view bits. I'm going to select none. And we're only going to check 411. And when I open the driver door, the value would change. Sometimes all of this decoding is very time consuming. Really hard to say because so many of the values change instantly, so we don't know. All of these IDs make no sense whatsoever to the common people like myself. So we're going to grab a dictionary file, go to DBC from File Manager. We have all of these DBC file loaded up. Let's check the label filter to see if that helps. And then click on Save. Click on Close. So yeah, you can see that it helps somewhat to decipher, but it seems this is incomplete because there are so many unknowns. For instance, 411. We thought that was related to the doors close or open, but that has not been filled, has not been deciphered by other people yet. Let's go to File, DBC Manager. Let's check on this to see if that helps. Nope. Let's see if this helps. Okay. Okay. Let's save all of the data collected so far. Go to File, down to Save Log File, save the file wherever you want. We're going to open the CSV file in Excel and see what's going on there. Filter by 411 ID. So bit number 1 has a bunch of possible values. That seems really strange just because we're only interested in opening or closing, right? So it should be only 2 possible values, but we're seeing a lot. The same goes for bit 2. 3 is just 1 value. 4 is 2 value, so that might be it. So this value might be the driver's door because there's only one value of it. Here's only one value of it as well. D4 has 2 possible values of opening or closing. D6 has only one value again. This has only one value. And D8 has only one value. Alright, so I am going to assume that D4 is the value for whether it's open or close. Yep, and here you can see that as soon as I open a door, it changed to the value of 51. I close the door. And it stays 50. I open the door, that's the second time. I close the door. I open the door the third time. And then when I close the door, I keep the door closed. Then it resumes back to 50. So case closed, I am going to assume that D4 is the value for whether it's open or close. For lock and unlock status, I am going to cheat a little bit. I started the car as unlocked. Then lock it 5 seconds later, repeat again and again, and stopped after 30 seconds. That's a total of 3 locked and 3 unlocked. I could analyze as before, but we'll save the log file as CSV, then upload the file to ChatGPT. I asked it to analyze the data, and it said that ID 30C is most likely associated with lock status. That's the secret. If you want to know what button correlates to what ID, then press the button every 6 seconds for 6 times or so, and let AI find the ID that matches that pattern. I find that's much faster and reliable than manually hunting for it in SavvyCAN. To be fair, I still don't know much about using SavvyCAN just because there's not a lot of tutorials out there. The ones I watched assume I know how to use SavvyCAN already, and that's not fair at all. Let's see if ChatGPT got it correct. Open our saved log file. Highlight the first row data filter. The fourth bit changes between 2 values, 0 and 24. I am betting this is the lock status. I am going to have to pause for now since this video is getting way too long. Hopefully this is a good intro to get you excited about hacking into your car to make it work the way you want it to. Alright, hopefully you found this video helpful. I really appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and thanks for watching.